Okay, let's hit the highlights of this chapter, and I think it's a good chapter, so I hope you've enjoyed reading it. Let's see, we're looking at individual differences and behaviors, and basically what that's saying is sometimes it's really hard to supervise people as a group, that you have to supervise people as people individually. So that's a challenge. It's a very big challenge. We're looking at personality and individual behavior. Personality is defined as the stable psychological traits and behavioral attributes that give a person his or her identity. And we all know what personality is. There are some favorable personalities. There are some difficult personalities. There are some that you just don't give too much of a consideration to. But everybody is different. And that's what we try to do when we start doing personality tests and assessments. One big one is the Big Five personality dimensions, and we're going to do one of these in class so that you can measure your extroversion, how agreeable you are, conscientiousness. All of these are traits that you want to know about your employees. How emotionally stable they are. Extroversion, I think we probably both have covered that fairly well with Myers-Briggs. Not really worked on the agreeableness much, but we'll get to that this week. Conscientiousness is another one we haven't measured, but you can fairly well decide on how dependable or responsible somebody is, or how persistent they are. Emotional stability, there's something called the emotional IQ. We'll touch with that a little bit. And then openness to experience, which means what's your mindset? Are you open or closed-minded? Are you curious? Or do you just not want change to happen? And basically that's what that's talking about. Now there are some limitations to using this in the workplace. You always want to make sure when you do this you understand what the test is telling you. You use professionals, and you really don't want to hire just on the basis of a personality test. You really want to see how the person fits into the job. You want to give it reference checks, personality or personal interviews, ability tests, and look at their experience on the background. You're going to be alert for gender, racial, and ethical biases. Ethnic biases, I'll say that right in a minute. You want to cover everything. I mean, a test on paper is not going to cover how somebody truly is as a whole person. And then the other one that everybody used to be a really big buzz was handwriting tests. Those have kind of fallen out of favor simply because my handwriting can change from day to day. It would be really hard to gauge my personality on that. So most people stay away from those. Why do we do these? Why do we do these tests? First of all, I think we want to be able to have happy employees. So that means they have to have good esteem. So if we know something about the personality and what makes them tick, we'll be able to reinforce their positive attributes. We'll be able to give them positive feedback when they need it. If somebody isn't a big picture person, then we'll realize to give them smaller details to be able to handle the project. And we can provide coaching where you see somebody struggling with something, especially if you know that's their weakness. So these tests aren't to punish, they're to help us be better managers. The emotional intelligence test, and I'm not sure if we have one. I do have one here at house I'll bring in. It looks at your self-awareness, and what is your ability to read your own emotions. Do you understand when you're getting angry? Do you understand how to manage that? Self-management, again, goes right back to the self-awareness. Are you aware of what's going on around you socially? Do you have an empathy, and can you understand the emotions of others? And finally, the ability to manage relationships, to detract from conflicts or subtract from them, and to build strong personal bonds. This is a very big one. Let's see, Daniel Cole brought this one to light, and we're still working on that one. It's a hard one to judge. It's a very hard one to judge. We just have to keep working. The three components of attitude, especially if you're dealing with an employee with an attitude, is affective, their feelings and emotions one has about what's going on. What happened to these, what happened before they got to work? You've got to ask yourself that question. What are their feelings and emotions if they come into a situation? What are the beliefs and knowledge? What is their cognitive state? What have they been taught? And finally, how you expect, what do you expect out of the behavior? How do they normally behave? You kind of have to be a psychiatrist or a psychologist in your own right as a manager to understand how to manage your people and understand what's happening to them. And the big thing that everybody has to be aware of is how stressful it is at work, how stressful it is at life, in these days and times. So, be cognitive of that and make sure that your people get enough rest and security at work so that they aren't uncertain. That stress causes much discourse at work and in people's lives. So be very aware of stress. We'll cover some stressful events that everybody goes through during their lives. And that is the chapter in a nutshell. Thank you.